Welcome. Let's settle for the details. Government is asking for stakeholder support to enable the passage of the economic programs outlined in the 2024 budget. This is crucial to ensure that the path to economic recovery is successful. Deputy Minister of Finance, Abena Ose-Asari, made the passionate call when she spoke at the 2024 budget dialogue by Deloitte. There is more in the following report.
The 2024 budget is described as crucial due to the state of the economy and the many challenges government would have to solve before the year ends. According to Deputy Finance Minister Abena Ose-Asari, all the tax reliefs and economic policies can be achieved when Parliament is able to pass the appropriation bill on time to allow for implementation as scheduled in the budget. Speaking to Joy Business after addressing the Deloitte Economic Dialogue in Accra, she acknowledged the expectations of the public and agreed to work together in achieving the target.
This time in the first place, we were able to negotiate for the base pay before sending the budget to Parliament, and that is the kind of support we are calling for, making sure that things happen so that the long-term effects will be positive. Again, we are also asking that we know that in the 2024 budget, we are asking for support to raise additional revenues of about 0.9% of GDP. And so we'll be coming to Parliament with some revenue measures. And we ask that the public speak to their members of Parliament to make sure they support us to let this happen. We are asking also for Parliament to give government, grant government the opportunity to give some reliefs to companies in the form of tax waivers. And we believe this will also help boost the capacity of our local companies. So this is where we are going to ask for support from all of us. And again, when it comes to expenditure, we have spelled out the quantum of monies that we hope to spend.
Managing partner Deloitte Ghana, Daniel Owusu, hinted that the 2024 budget is very critical to government and hence must be implemented to the letter.
This is the budget that is coming after the IMF program. And it's also coming just before elections, so we are going into elections here. So there's a lot of expectation, and you know, people have gone through DDP with all the inflation and the exchange rate matters. So this was a budget that had a lot of expectation around it. Everybody was looking forward to what the budget will entail and what it was going to, the impact was going to have on the populace. And that is why this year's budget, we saw that it's a special budget that we have to show interest and be keen on the details.
Business partners and some clients of Deloitte are, however, not enthused about the inability of government to review some of its tax handles in the budget statement.
Our Speaker of Parliament, Alban Gbagwen, has given the go-ahead for the debate of the 2024 budget after deferring it for 2 days. This was to make sure the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, and his deputies appear before the House. However, information gathered by Joy Business shows that the Speaker has given permission for the budget to be debated. Let's go on Zoom and speak to parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante. Kweku, if you can hear me, what does this new development mean?
Well, in particular, this morning when the debate was set to start, the Finance Minister and his deputies were not in the chamber, and the minority raised significant issues with that. They said they wanted the Minister and his deputies to be in the House to listen to the concerns that MPs will be putting out with respect to the budget so that they can make changes if it is necessary. That is the main thing. In fact, the Speaker of Parliament actually acquiesced and granted that request that the debate should not go ahead until the Finance Minister or his deputies arrive. And we know that Ken Ofori-Atta is currently not in the country. He's outside trying to talk with bilateral partners with respect to Ghana's quest to get debt forgiveness as part of our DDEP and external debt restructuring. So he was not going to be able to come, but his deputies were expected to be on the floor. And about 1 hour since the Speaker of Parliament made that directive, Abena Ose-Asari actually walked into the chamber, and because of this, the debate could actually start. So we've heard from the minority, we've heard from the majority on day 2 of the debate. The fear that the debate was going to be in limbo had actually been quelled with the presence of the Deputy Finance Minister. And so the debate has happened, and we've heard strongly from the Deputy Majority Leader Alexander Afenyomakin, who's spoken extensively about what is it that they expect the NDC to do in terms of this budget.
What's going to be the implication of this on the speedy passage of the 2024 budget?
Well, Emma, so if this debate does not happen in time, it will mean that there will be very little time for MPs to now start sitting as committees to look into the estimates of the budget. What is expected to happen with these debates is that when Parliament finishes the debate, then the committees can now start sitting as a whole to actually consider the respective estimates that have been put forth by the finance ministry in terms of the various budget, the various departments and agencies. So that is one. And as soon as this debate ends, then they can go into. So if the debate takes longer, it will mean it will take a much longer period for the finance minister to get approval. Mind you, last weekend he was before MPs during the post-budget workshop pleading that this budget should be passed expeditiously. Now he's getting that, and the debate is speeding up. Next week, Tuesday, if all things go as planned, the debate will conclude, and from then, the various committees will now start coming to Parliament to present exactly what their reports are on the estimates and also some of these tax reliefs that will come by way of bills to actualize. Emma.
But do you think that the budget will be approved before Parliament rises in December?
Yes, with all the indication we are getting, the majority side are willing to do all that it matters to get the budget passed by 22nd December when Parliament is set to go on break. And so it will be a numbers game ultimately. But so far, the minority have not signaled any intention to actually block the passage of the budget. So we expect that the appropriation act will get through by the 22nd of December. It will go through without any hitch. Unless between now and then, there are new issues that the minority wants to raise, for which reason we want to scatter the approval of this budget.
Okay, thank you very much, Kweku. Kweku Asante is our parliamentary correspondent. Moving on, accounting and auditing firm PwC is cautioning the government against celebrating the revival of the economy, dubbed turning the corner. In its overall perspective on the 2024 budget, it said there is still quite some distance from the finish line. Here's more in this report.
According to PwC, the next lap could be the hardest section yet to run. However, it said the 2024 budget contains some socio-economic development programs which, if implemented properly, could deliver desired results. It expressed worry about the 2024 election spending, saying there are significant threats to disciplined budgetary execution that the government would have to face off to stay on track to achieve the broad medium-term target of recovery, stability, and growth. It therefore advised the government to adopt sound project selection and implementation approaches that will lead to producing commercial scale model that would serve as effective anchors for driving the sector-wide transformation envisaged for the priority sector listed in the medium-term growth strategy. Specifically, it urged the government to avoid the temptation to be overly generous in its application of social protection and poverty reduction principles.
The Ghana cedi would remain relatively stable this week following the recent approval of the $800 million cocoa syndication loan by Parliament and the $102.6 million African Development Bank budget support program for Ghana. While market activity appears dull, analysts expect some stability in the near term. They anticipate a slight movement or slight improvement in foreign exchange liquidity in the near term, which should bolster cedi against the major foreign currencies. Let's explore this further and go on Zoom and speak to research lead at GCB Capital, Courage Buti. Courage, if you can hear me, looking at the recent approval of the $800 million cocoa syndicated loan and the $102.6 million budget provided by African Development Bank to support the Ghana program or to support the budgets, would you say that's enough to sustain the stability of the cedi as we await the disbursement of the second tranche of the IMF program? Courage, can you kindly unmute for me? It appears we are struggling to get courage, Buti. But then a look at one of our stories now. Chairman of the ECOWAS Brown Card Council of Bureau, Henry Bukari, has indicated that the scheme will be digitized in 2024 to enhance insurance delivery in the sub-region. According to him, digitizing the scheme will enhance claims payment and promote the harmonization of the financial sector to facilitate West African trade. There's more in this report.
The ECOWAS Brown Card Insurance Scheme was established to facilitate free movement of vehicles across member states within the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The 39th Ordinary General Assembly of the Council of Bureau witnessed a gathering of heads of insurance institutions across the sub-region to deliberate on ways to harmonize the insurance space in West Africa. Speaking to the media on the sidelines of the ongoing assembly, Chairman of the Council of Bureau, Henry Bukari, indicated that the digitization of the card will ensure a seamless insurance process across borders.
The Brown Card has gone through a lot of phases and positive phases, and we are about to launch into the next phase. And what is the next phase? We are moving into the phase of digitalization. And yesterday at our executive committee meeting, we discussed it extensively. Starting from my tenure next year, we'll be moving from the hardcore paper Brown Card that you see. So my tenure will be focusing on digitalizing the Brown Card.
He explains the rationale behind the ECOWAS Brown Card Insurance Scheme.
The ECOWAS Brown Card is an extension within the West African sub-region of your third-party motor insurance. What it means is that when you drive out of Ghana to any of the countries in the sub-region, the benefits that you have for your third-party insurance, i.e. protecting you against liability for causing damage to someone's property or causing injury or death to a third party, is covered. So the essence of it is to allow you to be able to freely move within the sub-region and also do business without worrying about the risk of having huge liabilities on you. These liabilities are transferred to your insurance company through the ECOWAS Brown Card.
Toji Kwasi, Permanent General Secretary of the Council of Bureau, noted that the establishment of a harmonized compensation guidelines will ensure a seamless rollout of the scheme.
Language can be a barrier, but we have overcome that by establishing or by putting in place a harmonized compensation guideline, which cuts across both the Anglophone, the Francophone, and the Lusophone region. Because in this scheme, we have 3 zones: Francophone, Anglophone, and the Lusophone. So we have come together, we have agreed on terms of claim guidelines, which we call the harmonized compensation guidelines. And that serves as a blueprint, and it clears out all ambiguities and all challenges that might come up.
On that theatric note, we end Business Live with me, Emma Davis. For more business news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a good evening and see you tomorrow.